The crystalline spires of the Dragon King's palace pierced the violet sky of Dracoris Prime, casting prismatic shadows across the assembled warriors. They had come from 100 worlds, scaled Vraxians with plasma cannons grafted to their spines, four-armed Cathori gladiators bearing molecular blades, even a sentient war mech from the Cobalt Collective. Each one sought the same prize, to become the Dragon King's champion and command the most fearsome armada in the known galaxy. Coraline stood at the edge of the crowd, her calloused hands gripping a pitchfork she'd forgotten to put down. The human girl had only meant to deliver fresh bedding to the royal stables when the commotion began. Now she found herself trapped among beings who could crush her with a thought. The Dragon King himself emerged from the palace gates, and the courtyard fell silent. He was magnificent and terrible, scales like burnished starlight, wings that could eclipse suns, eyes older than civilizations. Legend said he had ruled for 10,000 years and had never smiled. Not once. The test is simple. The Dragon King's voice rumbled through translation collars and telepathic interfaces. Make me laugh. You have one attempt, fail, and you leave this world forever. The first warrior, a Vraxian berserker, approached with confidence. He performed an ancient war dance, movements precise and deadly, accompanied by guttural battle cries that had once terrified entire star systems. The Dragon King's expression remained stone. A Cathori jester tumbled forward next, her forearms juggling plasma orbs while reciting quantum equations in 17 languages simultaneously. The Dragon King blinked slowly, unimpressed. One by one, they tried. Holographic comedians, pheromone specialists, a creature made entirely of laughing gas. Warriors told jokes in dead languages, performed slapstick with antimatter, even attempted tickling with probability fields. Nothing worked. The Dragon King sat upon his obsidian throne, unmoved as a mountain, ancient as entropy. Hours passed. The crowd thinned as failures were teleported away. Coraline should have left, should have returned to the stables where Oscar was probably wondering where she'd gone. Oscar, the other human stable hand. The boy who'd arrived on Dracoris only months ago, speaking broken galactic common and knowing nothing about starship engines or plasma feeds. Yet he'd learned. Humans always learned. She thought of Oscar's laugh that morning when she'd slipped on spilled grain. Not mocking, genuine, surprised, delighted. The sound had made even the grumpy stablemaster crack a smile. The Dragon King rose. Is that all? Does no one else dare attempt? Coraline's mouth opened before her brain engaged. I'll try. 1,000 eyes turned toward her. Murmurs rippled through the remaining warriors. A human? A stable hand? The Dragon King's massive head swiveled in her direction, and for a moment she felt like a mouse before a supernova. Approach, he commanded. Her legs moved mechanically. She still held the pitchfork. Stupid, stupid. What could she possibly do? She couldn't juggle, couldn't tell jokes in alien languages, didn't know any ancient war dances. She was just Coraline, who cleaned stables and missed Earth's yellow sun and wrote letters home that took years to arrive. She stood before the Dragon King, craning her neck to meet those impossibly ancient eyes. And then she saw it. A piece of cosmic hay stuck to one of his magnificent horns, probably from when he'd inspected the stables last week. It fluttered absurdly in the breeze, completely at odds with his terrible majesty. Coraline started to giggle. She couldn't help it. The situation was absurd. Here she was, a nobody from a backwater planet standing before a 10,000-year-old space dragon with a piece of hay in his horn, and she was supposed to make him laugh. The giggle became a chuckle, then a full laugh that bubbled up from her chest. You dare mock me? The Dragon King's voice could have shattered planets. No! Coraline gasped between laughs, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, there's hay in your horn. She pointed with the pitchfork. The Dragon King went cross-eyed, trying to look at his own horn, which only made Coraline laugh harder. She knew she should be terrified, knew she'd probably just signed her own death warrant. But the absurdity was too much, and then impossible, unprecedented. The corner of the Dragon King's mouth twitched. The courtyard held its breath. The twitch became a rumble. The rumble became a sound like tectonic plates shifting, like stars being born, like the universe itself remembering joy. The Dragon King was laughing. It started small, then built into something cosmic and terrible and wonderful. His whole body shook with it, wings unfurling to their full span, head thrown back toward the violet sky. He laughed like he'd forgotten how and just remembered, like 10,000 years of seriousness were cracking open to reveal something warm underneath. "Hey, in my horn," he roared with laughter. 10 millennia of dignity and I've been walking around with hay in my horn. He plucked the offending straw out and examined it, which only made him laugh harder. The assembled warriors stared in shock. Some fled, some fainted. A few began laughing too, caught up in something they didn't understand. Finally, the Dragon King's laughter subsided to chuckles, then warm silence. He looked at Coraline with eyes that now seemed younger somehow, less burdened. "What is your name, human?" "Coraline, your majesty." "Just a stable hand. Just a stable hand," he repeated, amused. "Tell me, Coraline, who is just a stable hand, why did you laugh?" She shrugged, suddenly embarrassed. "It was funny. You're this magnificent, terrifying being, and you had hay in your horn. It was human somehow. Made you real instead of just scary." The Dragon King nodded slowly. "Everyone else tried to make me laugh at them, at their performances. You laughed at the situation." "At me, with me," he paused. "You saw the absurdity in existence itself. That is wisdom warriors train lifetimes to achieve." He stood, and reality seemed to bend around him. "Coraline, just a stable hand, you have passed my test. But I will not make you my champion. That life is not for you." Her heart sank for a moment before he continued. "Instead, I offer you this. Ask me one boon. Anything within my power." Coraline thought of glory, of power, of wealth beyond measure. Then she thought of Oscar, probably still mucking out stalls, dreaming of home. "Send us back to Earth," she said quietly. "Me and Oscar, the other stable hand. We miss home." The Dragon King smiled, a real smile, soft and genuine. "Done. And Coraline? Thank you." I had forgotten what laughter felt like. As the teleportation field enveloped her, Coraline heard the Dragon King's voice one last time. "Humans. You find joy in the strangest places. The galaxy is better for it." She materialized in Oscar's arms. He'd been teleported mid-pitchfork swing and was now holding her awkwardly in what appeared to be their hometown in Kansas. The yellow sun had never looked so beautiful. "What just happened?" Oscar asked, bewildered. Coraline grinned. "I made a space dragon laugh." "Of course you did," Oscar said. And his own laughter rang out across the familiar fields of home. Somewhere in the cosmos, in a palace of crystalline spires, a Dragon King smiled at the memory of hay and laughter, and for the first time in 10,000 years felt young.